Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast, where we dive into the wild world of wrestling, the only sport where threatening a child can make you the most beloved face in the business. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of wrestling storylines, analyze jaw-dropping matches, and speculate wildly on who's going to turn heel next. Get ready for a ringside seat to the excitement and absurdity of wrestling with us every week.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast. I'm your main host Mike. Hope everyone enjoyed the first episode. Let's get into the second. I'm going to have my co-hosts introduce themselves again.
Okay, well, for those that haven't heard my voice before, I'm Dan, Danwell KC on Twitter, DNUELKC. It's just a nickname that stuck. Yeah, happy to be on here.
I'm Dov Butter from Twitter. Everyone knows me.
I'm Ric Flair Andy. I'm Andy, and was a big fan of Ric Flair, hence the name.
I am the lone American here. My name is Brett. I am that bald bro. You can follow me on Twitter, exact name. And if my accent sounds a little funny, like I said, I am the lone American here.
I'm Wrestler Mark 16, and I'm the cunt with a stopwatch.
So, what I thought we'd start with this week is, as people will know, we put out on Twitter asking for questions. So we're just going to do a quick Q&A. Say quick, it'll probably end up not being quick, and just get some of your questions answered. So to start off, the first question, we'll go with Kev O'Connor's question. Kev_OC66. Top fella, lovely guy. Why do people have such issues with the number of belts in any company when they are for different divisions? For example, why can't the women have a world champion, a mixed card, and a tag? Why can't the tag have a mid card, such as the old US tag champs?
People don't like nice things because people like to moan about anything. All the give like more titles, if anything. Like the women need more titles in AEW for starters, and I don't have a problem with how many men's there are. They're not like stuff like the Continental title. That's not going to be something that's going to be like taking precedence week in, week out on TV. Fine with it being there and existing. It doesn't offend me. The rest of the men's division, I think, again, having like 2 secondary titles isn't a problem. One for every division, and I think the women need at least 1, if not 2, additions to theirs, personally.
Well, for me, it's like I said in the group chat before, I don't know about yous, I want a Lucha division. Not cruiserweight, not junior heavyweight, specifically Lucha. Especially in AEW, there's so many unbelievable luchadors.
Mm-hmm. I'd love that.
I'd love just a flippy shit title. Literally call it that. Fuck the Fed fans. Call it the flippy shit title.
Call it the steam coming out of Cornette's ears title.
There's so many people that could be in that division as well. Like, I'm just looking through the roster now. There's 15 people easily that can be the focus of that division. That could be like quite a big highlight on like for Rampage as well.
Like I was saying earlier, it's the kind of thing that take you back to when WCW was in its prime, and they had the cruiserweight division. And it was phenomenal because no one else had the WWE or WF as it was at the time. They didn't have anything like that, and it stood out to people. It was entertaining. It was something different, and some great wrestlers have come through that. So there's a hell of a lot of guys in that on that roster that could be fantastic and flourish in that.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I completely agree with everything that everyone said. Plus, I think got such a really good relationship with CMLL like AEW have. That forbidden door can be opened. Like a division centered around that would be like incredible. I think it would be superb. But yeah, as to why people complain about what their current utilization of titles is, I mean, it's just all subjective. I think it's great, personally. I think, if anything, there could be more.
I think people just look for things to be unhappy about. People don't see people like it is basically what Mark said there, which is people don't like nice things. They don't. Too many people, and this is in Everton. It's not. I'm not going to rant and getting me soapbox, but it is in Everton. People like to moan about things instead of concentrating on the things that are good about things. They like to find the negatives in everything, and like the titles that they have at the moment in both companies do what they're there for. Even that shitty speed title that the other fellas have, it does its job, which is to pretend that the Book and Andrade are all right.
Well,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, as far as like the women go in WWE, I've heard like rumors that they might want to consider introducing like mid card titles, like a women's Intercontinental title and a women's US title. Like that all sounds good and well, but like I've told people before, like before you introduce these new titles for the women's division, like for both the women's heavy for the women's world championship on Raw, and for the women's title on SmackDown, and plus their tag titles, like they need to start booking those accordingly before they start introducing any new belts, because let's be honest, like I have to remind myself at times that Liv Morgan has the women's world title on Raw, like with this whole Dom and Rhea love triangle. Like, you know, she's only had one title defense in the 2-3 months she's had the belt. Like, I mean, all she's just doing is just being she's just being Raw's Hatua girl in a sense, like with the whole Judgment Day and shit. That's all she is. Like, she ain't wrestling, she ain't doing shit with the belt. Like, this story, in my opinion, don't need the belt. It could be used for someone else. And for Bailey holding the SmackDown women's title, like, you can even go back to when she won the Royal Rumble. Like, you know, she won the Rumble, and her from WrestleMania to now, they have not give one single shit from her build, winning the Rumble to winning up the belt at Mania, even till now. Like, it's been lackluster at best. They haven't gone, like, for all the attention that Triple H gives the Bloodline storyline with all the new members coming in, he hasn't given like maybe 1% of focus on both women's divisions and the tag titles. So before we add any new belts, like they need to start building their current women's champions accordingly.
like people want their favourites to be at the top. Like Takeshita, if they win a mid card belt, people complain, and it just makes no sense. You've got to start somewhere.
You're right. You are right with that. I remember the old days when you'd have like, you know, when the perfect example is the Warrior when they stuck the Intercontinental title on him, and it was great time. And then they pushed him too far to the world title. But you've had others that have held that Intercontinental title for so long, like Shawn Michaels back in the day. And it's great prep, though. You say they've got to start somewhere. You need these titles to bring people up. You can't just stick a world title on them and then go, off you go.
Like Okada's won that Continental title, and people have complained about that. They just not everyone's going to win the world title every other fucking month, are they?
And it's not just that though. It comes down to, you know, the viewers as well. You know, the ratings as well in that respect. And while we all know who Okada is and we know how good he is, and it'd be great to see him hold the world title, the majority of American viewers and worldwide viewers won't really know who he is that much. So you've got to introduce them to these guys, which is why you have a mid card title to slowly get them into the kind of, you know, the mind share of these people, and kind of get them to slowly start buying into what these guys can bring, and the credibility of them having a title. You can't just throw one of them into the world title and go off you go.
It's this generation, I think, no, like the fans, they're like a person, sort of think, well, he should be straight at the top instead of no one wants anyone getting built up. I don't baffles me.
But then I'm all
100%.
about long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One person loses and Twitter loses its mind, doesn't you know what I mean?
It's crazy. I think the problem people seem to have, from what I can see with AEW's titles in particular, it's not that they have too many. It's the fact it's more like they do say that, but I think a lot of it comes from the fact that it's perceived as too many because we see a lot of Ring of Honor titles on the show, and that is something that I would change. I'd like to see Ring of Honor's titles. Like, I'd like to see them occasionally, but make it feel like an event. You know, the Ring of Honor champions on the show, you know, or that kind of thing, rather than just, you know, the Ring of Honor title is going to be defended on Rampage because we can't really think of anything else to put on there.
Right, so second question. This is from It's Just Vince at VRT094. And he says, any ideas to fix the tag division in AEW?
Good luck.
Find the Motor City Machine Guns, mate. Simple as.
Do you know what? Look, like I was looking through earlier, they've got 9 tag teams of note. So you've got the Bucks, FTR, Lucha Bros, Acclaim, Top Flight, Private Party, the Guns. Then you've got the Kingdom and Shane Taylor promotions as well. There's decent depth there. The issue's been how neglected a lot of those teams have been. Like the FTRs are just here and there, injuries, guns and everything. They're not always about. Lucha Bros, again, they've had a few injury issues. The Acclaimed, their popularity's dropped off. Top Flight injury issues, Private Party injury issues. The Guns have found a really good place with Juice and Jay White. And then the Kingdom and, I mean, Shane Taylor Promotions, again, a couple wins there, they could seem like someone who could be quite investable. But it does feel that a lot of those teams, they're 2 weeks or 3 weeks of a solid build away from actually being interesting again. It's just been neglected for so long now. But the ingredients are there. There's 9 tag teams there, 7 of which have got a lot of exposure over the last year to varying degrees. But they are people, again, Private Party or Top Flight. Again, they get an upset win over an FTR. They go out the next week and beat the Acclaimed. And then suddenly you're like, okay, well, they're going to have a title shot on pay-per-view, and why not?
Like, I think back in the early days of Dynamite, you could have had a couple of tag team matches on each show with, proper tag teams. Now it seems very rare that happens now. Go back to booking tag team matches.
I agree. That's the key, rather than doing Joe Bloggs has got a problem with Joe Bloggs. Joe Bloggs is enemy, whatever. I can't think of names. And so he teams up with another Joe Bloggs, just for that episode. No, get back to having tag team matches and have the singles feuds remain as single as you can do. Have the odd team up, but you need to stick to having tag teams feuding with tag teams rather than tag teams feuding with 2 singles guys.
Yeah.
100%.
I remember when AEW first started, one of the things that drew me to them, that I thought this is what was so good about it, is I cared about the tag division and the trios division. And in WWE, I'd never really done that because it was the same formula all the time. There was just such a lack of creativity or effort put into those divisions. And it was one of the things, especially like in 2020 and the first parts of 2021, I was like, I'm really looking forward to these tag matches or these trios matches, which is kind of unheard of in like what I look for in wrestling.
Basically what we've just been saying, we have 2 established tag teams who are class as big names within the division, which is the Bucks and FTR. Outside that, the Acclaimed got an unexpected, boost in popularity a couple of years back, and they pushed on it for a bit, but then it's stagnated a little bit the way they've been booked. Mm-hmm. And outside, I think, as you said just before that, like the rest haven't had that sustained push, that sustained kind of period of focus to put them in the same level as FTR in the book. So unfortunately, we keep ending back up. We keep ending up back at this stage where we're looking at another FTR Bucks feud, and I don't want to see another FTR Bucks feud. It's been done. At least give it 2 years before you come back to this kind of stuff.
I was just going to say. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. Is that what drew me into AEW from an early stage was that they seemed from the outset to present tag team wrestling in a really interesting light, and there was a lot of focus given to it. Like when they had the first tag tournament, which I'll still hold this to my dying breath, in that Best Friends should have been the first tag team to win the tag titles, not SCU. I personally think the Best Friends should have been that. It looks like we probably won't ever see them hold the belts, given Chuck's injury and everything. But ultimately, there was a chance there. But the point I'm making is that there is, from an early standpoint, the tag division looked like it was going to be consistently booked well, but it hasn't sort of materialized that way. And in order to fix it, I think I think we just need to just take advantage of what screen time they can feasibly offer, and just actually give it to some fresh, young, hungry tag teams, because they've got such a deep roster. You can just pick anyone. They can generate that little intrigue that the Acclaimed had for that sort of short period of time a couple of years back.
Private Party could fill that role. They would book consistently, push consistently as well for a few months.
I'm not as big on Private Party as you, but I do feel exactly the same as you feel about them, about Top Flight. I feel like if you put you put some focus on these guys and just keep showing them every week. Have them pick up wins against anyone every week, but give them a random win against Tony Nese and just give them these wins and just keep them on TV and keep the crowds, the fans seeing them. And in our minds, so we'd be looking forward to more of some of the amazing shit that these guys can do, and actually be excited about seeing what's next, rather than them then going missing for a month and then all of a sudden I know they've had injury problems and that, but they've been fine for a while now.
Oh, that's it. Like just to summarise what everyone's saying, I think the key word is just attention.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Lucha Brothers. Put the Lucha Brothers in everything. That'll fix the division. I just want to see them in every. I'd watch the Lucha Brothers just wrestle 20 matches. I know I'm moaning about people wanting Takeshita to do that, but whatever. The Lucha Brothers are amazing.
You got anything to add, Brett?
Just get them on TV. Get the tag teams back on TV. Start there. Just more tag team matches on Dynamite, on Collision, and that's it. Get them on TV. Start with that.
As much shite as we just spoke for the last however many minutes, that's it. It's as basic as let's just put it. Just get them on TV. Let us all see them. Let's get invested in them.
Yeah, that's it. As I said, the main word that it all comes down to is just attention. So this one is from Donny at Donny V THEE on Twitter. He says, in a hypothetical scenario where you're a booker and you have access to every wrestler who's ever lived, what two wrestlers would you have a one-on-one main event at your biggest show of the year?
Ooh, that's a toughie. I love these kinds of questions, actually. Fantasy booking, from Mike. Did you have anything? I seem to remember in the group chat you had something written down while I think about mine.
Well, I answered. We'll just give this a bit more publicity. I actually give my number 2 as a reply to this because I was bored. By the way, the social media for GCW podcast is run by me, Mike. At the minute, I said my number 2 was Gunther versus Masala because what some of you don't know about me is I'm a big nerd of 90s Japanese wrestling. I'm basically the Scouse Eddie Kingston. But my number 1 for me all time, Will Ospreay versus AJ Styles. Just give me that. Both men in the prime. Half an hour. Go nuts. That's my number 1.
Oh, awesome. I mean, sorry to make you hate me, Mike, but I saw both of them in a triple threat match at Rev Pro in 2015. I won't mention the third participant because he's cancelled now, so I'm not going to give him any publicity whatsoever. But that was incredible. It was when Ospreay was very young, so I'd like to say I lived a little vicariously through that. That's what sort of drove me into Will Ospreay, to be quite honest with you.
I was going to say motion to kick Dan off the podcast.
Yeah.
No.
He's basically taking Brett's role of last week of making me jealous about stuff now.
Sorry, mate. But yeah, I can share a lot of 90s Japanese wrestling with you, Mike. So you're not alone there, at least. So there's a reason to keep me on. But as for my match, I think the one that I always go back to, and I've said this a couple of times, is Bret Hart and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and Bret before my time. But at the same time, I look back and watch all of his matches now, and they're still incredible. They're still just so great. I think them two, they've been given an Iron Man match, and had it been a modern paced Iron Man match, like what we saw with MJF and Ospreay. I know there wasn't an Iron Man match, but going that sort of style, that would probably be a 10-star match for me. That's probably my go-to.
It would be unbelievable.
I'm going to go with my match. I'm going to go with Kenny Omega versus Kurt Angle. I think that's what I'd pick.
Spicy.
You're very nice.
Yeah, that'd be
very, very nice.
That'd be a cracker. For me, I'm gonna. You put me in a very bad position with this because it would be the dream match that was from when I was a kid, which would be Ric Flair Hulk Hogan. The match that everyone wanted to see that people never thought would happen. But and yeah, Hulk Hogan's a prick, so I would change that to Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the two of them in the prime. I would love that.
Beautiful match. Would be great.
Well, give me, man. I thought hard about this, and I think this would be perfect matchup style wise. Give me Kenny Omega versus Eddie Guerrero.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hell yeah.
I was thinking that was on one of mine.
I think that'd be beautiful. I mean, you've seen Eddie work with everyone in his career, all styles, and I think just his style and Omega, I think they would be the perfect dance partners for each other.
100%.
That's a great shot. I like that one. It's a bit of an alternative one, though. I'm feeling that one. Mine would be Bryan against Kurt Angle, because they're two of my favourite 4 wrestlers ever, I suppose. And I just think it would be really, really good. A question on that one for you lot. They've been in the ring together once.
Yeah.
Before. Who knows when it was?
Wasn't it in the Greatest Royal Rumble at the Saudi Arabia show?
It was, yeah. I've just found a picture of it on Google as well, of Kurt having him in an ankle lock. I just think, again, 03
37 seconds or whatever it was.
03 Kirby, 2023 Bryan, that works for me perfectly. I think that'll be my kind of graps.
Yeah, it would be perfect from technical wrestling. Just going to take this opportunity to address Twitter a minute. The reason why Kurt Angle has no 5-star matches is because he never had a partner to give him a 5-star match. That's why. Stop using Kurt never got a 5-star match as a barometer to give shit to Meltzer. The reason why he never got a 5-star match is he never wrestled anyone to give him it.
You look at his
not
match,
even Shawn
Rey
Michaels,
Mysterio, and you say, come on, like, was it SummerSlam? When was it? When was that? Was it
SummerSlam 2002 was the first match. Like, it's regarded as like the best opening match in company history.
That's a 5-star. Like, again, if we're going to go with the semantics about what it takes to have a 5-star match, fine. But that's a world class. He gave, not being rude, like, I enjoyed Ospreay Carl Fletcher early this year on Daly's Place, I think it was. It wasn't as good as Rey Mysterio v. Kurt Angle. I think if you did a poll of 1 million people, you're getting less than 10 that are going to say Fletcher Ospreay was better, in my opinion. But there you go. Each to their own.
Kurt Angle's best stuff was in TNA anyway. He literally held TNA together for years. It's ridiculous how good he was in TNA, and the fact that he was falling to bits at the time.
Yeah,
as well.
he was off his tits the whole time as well.
Yeah.
You look at the matches that he had with AJ and Samoa Joe and Sting, even to a point, but AJ and Joe in particular, those two alone are capable of having 5+ star matches. And yet, it's kind of baffling that Kurt didn't get one. But it's not a credit to any of them. It's just probably right now. I think looking back, I appreciate those matches more.
But then not even Angle versus Michaels at WrestleMania 21 though.
It was very good.
That's the one exception I will give you is Michaels at 21. Apart from that, not for me. But if that's controversial, that's fine. I just thought I'd get it out there.
It's hilarious how triggered people get by Dave Meltzer. It's
amazing.
It's
crazy, man.
I love reading his tweets. He's so patient, and people are attacking him, and he's just batting them away with like facts.
For me, it's the way he is with Bischoff as well. Like when they get into their debates, and Bischoff is just screaming into the abyss, and obviously Bischoff has got more of a cult following, so he gets more likes and more people reacting positively. But if you take a step back and look at it neutrally, Dave Meltzer just crucifies him every single time. Just sitting back, letting Bischoff like scream and like be a bit nonsensical and just get angry, and he sits there batting him away with facts every time. And you know that every time he's doing it, Meltzer's just sitting there, glass of wine, having a laugh when he's sending it. And you can imagine Bischoff's launching shit around his office.
100%.
It's great.
100%.
I don't think Bischoff's got any shit left in his office. He's had to sell everything because of the amount of bank.
Speaking of Bischoff, I keep seeing this pop up about how many Dynamite there is before it surpasses Nitro. And I just think Tony Khan has the opportunity to do the funniest thing on whatever episode it is, 289 or something. Just to rub it in Bischoff's face, just to sort of say, "Look, I'm with you, mate. But stop shouting, stop getting your cult like followers to, give me shit and everything like that." It's just
people are going to melt down. It's going to be a hilarious day. I'm really looking forward just to posting a nice little trolley engagement farming tweet and just watching so many people get so angry.
Definitely quote tweet in your tweet.
What he needs to do on that episode, what I think you said, it's next year in January he's going to pass Nitro?
Something like that, yeah.
You know what he needs to? Tony Khan needs to do. He needs to descend from the rafters on a motorcycle.
Oh yes.
That's genius, Brett. Genius.
Perfect. And just say
Great idea.
it's so good to be me, and just that's it. That's all he needs to say.
It will be Dynamite will break. I don't give a shit if we cut this bit out. Dynamite will be breaking the record on April the 2nd next year.
Okay.
It equals it on March the 26th.
Fucking hell, people are going to lose the shit. People already lose the shit when you post that reminder of how many weeks is
For
that.
that Twitter timeline that day.
It's such an easy tweet. It's just I just love it. It's just I shouldn't bite. I should just ignore everyone on there. I need to get better and not getting into rabbit holes with fucking people that are potentially bots. But I can't help myself sometimes. But it's amazing to see how upset people get. And when he retweeted it a couple of weeks ago, I did get a bit of enjoyment out of that because he'll definitely do that another couple of times. He won't be able to help himself but buy it a couple of times. Why do you care so much about someone posting factual information? The pictures, granted, the pictures are always going to be like Khan smiling and Bischoff looking like a fool. But apart from that, why do you care so much about what I'm saying, man?
Mark, the answer is us Americans don't like data and numbers. Okay.
Yeah, clearly
we don't appreciate that shit over here. Okay?
Well, on the one hand, you can say that, yeah, people are really fixated on ratings and buy rates and demos and everything like that, but we don't really care.
The majority, the majority of people I see getting into ratings discourse, they should just be concerned with making sure they give back the proper change at McDonald's or whatever gas station that they work at. Just what is it? What is the new term now? Just put the fries in the bag, bro. Just put the fries in the bag.
It's been done to death. Okay, now this past week, every
keep
single
that
fucking
in.
tweet.
Don't take that out. Keep that in.
Oh, we're gonna keep this in. Don't worry.
Mike, have we got time for one more question, or do you think we need to move on now?
We can do one more, bro. We can do one more.
Can I throw one in there just because I reckon we can give a one-word answer to this one and then move on. It's from Strix2 Wavy, who's primarily a WWE fan, but genuinely a top boy on Twitter. I reckon we can just answer this without going into depth on it. Just one or the other. His question is long-term or short-term booking?
Oh, long-term.
Long-term.
Yeah, long-term.
Long-term.
Depends on the situation.
Had to be one.
Not one word, bro.
All right, fine. Long term, but long term, but not more than 6 months, man.
That's long term. Mike last week trying to use Ospreay's complete catalogue of matches this year as his best match.
I say long-term booking, but by a normal person's perception of long-term, and not Triple H's long-term booking, because that's just mainly boring. It's just better than Vince.
Long-term with short-term sense.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just want to throw out thanks to everyone that did ask questions. If we didn't answer yours this week, sorry about that. But yeah, we've kind of rambled on for long enough on them here. But keep them coming. And again, we will try and revisit because there were a few questions there that we got that I thought were pretty good that we haven't got round to today. But I promise we will try to in future episodes.
Right. So, as everyone knows, the big discourse this week has been about the hour-long opening of Dynamite, MJF versus Will Ospreay. So we just thought it'd be a good idea for us to just discuss that match and discuss the discourse around it. So do you want to get going, boys?
I'll discuss. Twitter's full of miserable fuckers who need to get a grip.
We can move on now. We've kind of covered it, I think.
Yeah, basically ruined it for me there.
In all seriousness, though, it goes to the wider issue with wrestling. There's more than one style, boys. If it's not for you, don't fucking watch it. And just let the people out.
My timeline, people were already hating it or saying it was shite 10 minutes in. It didn't give a fuck how long it went. They weren't going to like it.
Exactly. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. I respect the fact that, okay, yeah, fine. I'm an AEW fan. I'm very outspoken about how much I don't like the WWE style of wrestling anymore. It's too polished, it's too samey, and blah blah blah. But that's my opinion, right? I can't speak for everyone, and I respect that everyone has their opinions on what they like and what they don't like when they watch programming. But MJF and Ospreay, objectively, you cannot sit there, even if you only watch 10 minutes of it, and say they can't wrestle. This is rubbish. You cannot objectively say that they do not know how to put on a good match. Like it's just baffling to me. And for me personally, I thought everything around it was laid out perfectly. I didn't feel like it lasted an hour. I could have happily watched it for another hour because it was just sublime. They just naturally complemented each other. But yeah, just stop, farming for just any excuse to be pissed off. It's. I find something better to do with your time, lads. I'm going to be honest. It's mad.
I totally agree with what Dan just said there. The perfect, like scenario really I can explain to get this across is I was watching Dynamite. I was absolutely fucked. It's 1 a.m. and I thought I'll just put it on and I'll probably watch 20 minutes and fall asleep and watch the rest in the morning. And before I knew it was 2:00. And I was like, I'm just not tired. I mean, this is fucking incredible. And it was, and the thing I really love about AEW is it gives me that retro, not retro, but it's got a perfect mix of what's modern about the wrestling and a wrestling TV show and the old school stuff that I used to love. Whereas I feel like the WWE style, it's not to have a dig at them, but that's gone to a very more polished kind of. It feels too well produced, overproduced. It's too kind of shiny, and this just feels like there's something a little bit more kind of raw about it. And it did make me that, as I say, straight away afterwards, the first thing I could think of was like Flair Sting or Flair Steamboat. It was brilliant. There wasn't a bad thing in the match. And then you got people there writing fucking essays on a full 200-page document on how Ospreay can't sell. Are you for fucking real? I just don't get it. Like, what people are so obsessed on trying to prove that they have, that they're a genius and you're not, and they'll explain to you why you shouldn't like something because they know better than you, while they're smelling their own farts.
If you look at this being a bit of a cliche of AEW being a victim of its own success, in that, again, for me personally, if you put AEW's top 10 matches together and WWE's top 10 matches in their history together, I think you're pushing to get more than 1 or 2 WWE ones in that list. And I think I might be even being generous there. We expect these kind of matches on AEW. Could you imagine going back to 2018 or 2019 and having this match between any 2 wrestlers, but played out this exact way and having that on Raw or SmackDown? Like, the world would have melted down with how good it was, because it would have been just so much better than anything else that people were receiving at that time.
That's why people originally gravitated towards Danielson, though, wasn't it? Because he was showing people, real wrestling, proper wrestling again, rather than.
It was quite telling, actually, because I remember I think it must have been 2013 or 2012, one of those years where I was sort of half in, half out with WWE. But Punk and Cena, I'm pretty sure, went an hour on an episode of Raw, just randomly, and I'm pretty sure nobody reacted like in the same way, half as like they did for this match with MJF and Ospreay. Like, and Punk and Cena, yeah, okay, they naturally mesh well together. But they can't hold a candle to either of these two guys in terms of ring work.
No.
Objectively, you cannot say that.
MJF seems to be getting a lot of hate as well from the AEW fans.
I don't get that, man. Honestly, it's we were talking about this just before we started, and it's so head wrecking. It's like people are determined to change history and make out that he was shite all along. It's ridiculous.
They can take like one questionable bit of time when he was really injured and his matches weren't always up to scratch when he was champion towards the end of his reign. That's not indicative of his entire run. Because from when he won the belt off Moxley throughout the majority of 2023, he was putting on bangers. Like the match with Kenny on Collision, for example, is unbelievable enough. Like the Iron Man match with Danielson. I mean, come on. Like I could go on, but to say that he never was good is just mind-blowingly stupid.
We have this bizarre attempt to change history though all the time. Like, I mean, it's like I really enjoy the All In main event. I think it's one of the best examples of in-ring storytelling I've seen in terms of that. the emotion of the guys and going which way, and it fully established MGF as he's going to turn to holy fuck, this guy is actually a good guy. He's actually genuine by the end of it, and it was brilliant. And most people generally tended to agree until about a couple of months ago when there was this wave across Twitter of wrestling hipsters sniffing their own farts, saying, "Oh, it wasn't. It was a shite, terrible main event, one of the worst main events we've ever seen." All at the same time. And like it's either bots or it's people trying to push an agenda for whatever, because it's just mental. Sorry, mate, go on.
Good. After All In, the whole show in general, it was generally positive. Everyone was going, "Oh, the great show, great show." Now it goes back. All In was mid. Everyone wasn't very good. Like,
fucking that. I just don't get it. Like that same sentiment is can be attached to this whole MJF thing. MJF was mid. Was he fuck? His runners, he's rubbish as a face. Was he bollocks? He was over as fuck. He was one of the most over wrestlers you'd ever see as a face. He had the entire crowd going fucking crazy over doing a fucking clothesline. Nobody else can do that. And
the surprise return at Double or Nothing as well was, you listen to that crowd reaction.
It's just I just don't get it.
He's not over.
And if you don't think the Mexicans are going to be fucking delirious when he turns up this week, they're going to be loving it. In fact, he should wear a stab vest, or at least, if it was 30 years ago, he probably should have worn one, because he's going to piss them off to the point where, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when he was in some guy's face in the crowd and it looked like the guy was trying to kill him and security had to step in and he didn't flinch either. The guy was going to throw a dig and he didn't even move. And it was like fair play, he's got some balls. Imagine what he's going to be like in Mexico.
Oh, it's going to be horrendously awesome.
What MJF does is something that no one has done in this business since the 90s, really. He's like, yes, all right, maybe some of the promo material can be a bit cheap at times, but he is able to generate emotions, like negative emotions towards him, for him as his character, that I don't know the last person that did it. Slaughter, I don't know, can you go past him? Vince maybe.
You're right.
He's the closest thing, the closest resemblance to Ric Flair that I can recall.
He is. He's like I don't want to. Sorry to keep stepping in here, but this is something that really grates me. This whole MJF thing, it drives me insane. I'd love to just get inside someone's brain and work out what the fuck they're thinking when they say this shit, and then just rip the fucking brain out and throw it in the bin because it's worthless. Because they're just fucking stupid. He's the closest thing to prime Ric Flair.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, especially on Twitter, they just try so hard to like be different from everybody. Like if they say the total opposite of what's just fact and undeniable, they want to come off as different as the opposite, just for the sake of being opposite and different. But just about the match in general with MJF and Ospreay, like I don't know how you guys feel, but it didn't even feel like an hour to me. It literally felt it flowed nice.
Flew by.
It flew by. Everything worked. There were no dull spots. Like nothing felt like slow. No major like rest spots or rest holds. Like dude, at 40 minutes they were going through damn freaking small package transition, like getting 10 2 counts and 10 1 counts in a row at like 45 minutes. Like these guys are freaking freaks of nature, like one of a kind. I mean, and I forgot who asked, like, how the hell are they going to top that match if and when they have that rematch? What are they going to do to top that match or even come close?
Well, I mean,
was it you?
We were talking about this, weren't we?
You say All In.
Yeah, ladder match.
I think, yeah.
I thought it'd be a ladder match.
I think a 2 out of 3 falls. To be honest, I think that'd be the bollocks. Like,
well, we were talking about this before we came on, didn't we? We were saying about how both of them really can work any style of match, whether it's lucha, whether it's a bit of comedy, whether it's like grueling sport kind of affair, or whether there's a cage involved or whatever. They can make it work. It doesn't matter what the stipulation is. Them two, when they're in the ring and they're given like time to just make the magic happen, it will happen. They're just very good at what they do.
They are AEW's 2 best talents in 2024.
Easily.
And on the MJF, I don't know if we said this earlier or whether it was before we started recording, but I'll say it again. He's the one guy in the industry at the moment that I think would work in any era. and not only work in any area, he'd be the top guy in any area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually.
We don't know anything about his personal life. We don't know anything. We know everything about everybody else, but we know nothing about MJF because MJF is MJF to the rest of the world. He doesn't break that.
You know what he's going to do, don't you? When he turns up at Wembley, he's going to be wearing a Spain shirt, isn't he? Like he's just going to. That's the kind of person that he is. Without any warning, he's going to piss off every fan there, and we're going to be booing him to shit, and he'll probably walk away the winner because that's just.
I'm like Cornette now talking about AEW. I've got steam on my ears with this because it just drives me mad. But another thing that I think I commented on one of Mark's tweets there about MJF turning heel a couple of weeks back before he did was I was all for him to stay face because I didn't think you'd be able to get that big a reaction after such a short face stint. I wanted it to be built up so that it had more of an impact, and I didn't think he'd be able to turn it around as much because the crowd would still cheer him every week. He was still getting the biggest pops in the arena, and a testament to the not to the booking but also to MJF. He managed to do it in one night. I thought it was too early, but within one night he managed to have the crowd go from within literally within a show from loving him, scumbag, all this crap, to absolutely fucking hating the guy and a guy trying to have a fucking fight with him in the crowd. And that's prime, like that is, 70s, 80s guy stuff. You haven't seen that since then, where they can, enrage someone into the crowd to the point where they want to actually attack them. And I just think it's phenomenal. Like I say, he took the best parts of Flair and Piper, and he's created the perfect amalgamation of the two for me. I think it's phenomenal. If you don't get that by me going on and on.
Man. Like, he's 28 years old. That's like, well, again, I'm a little bit older, and people on Twitter seem to enjoy that fact, and these ageist fuckers on there. But he's 28. That's so young to be doing what he's doing at his age is insane.
He's got 20 years in the business if he wants it. 20 more years to go, honestly.
And the fucking rest. It's insane, mate.
If he decides to do that, I mean, I can see, because of the Iron Claw stuff, I can see him transitioning out in the, maybe 15 years or so, 10 years or so, maybe less. But at the same time, I'm going to savor every moment of MJF that I can, because I haven't been as invested in a wrestler for as long a time. His genuine charisma as a heel or as a babyface are everything that turned me off of WWE, basically, because they're all so cookie cutter, paint by numbers, just very few authentic baby faces, very few like really gritty kind of heels that actually you want to see. And MJF is all of that. Like, he garnered heat in a way that I had never seen before, really, or that I certainly hadn't seen for years.
Like I say, within one show, he managed to do what I thought was impossible. I was all against the heel turn so quick because I thought we needed to build it up. Within one show, we did it, and it had a better effect than a heel turn I've seen, for a very long time. And on the match as well, like just before we move on, that match was as good as any of Ric Flair's hour-long matches. Now, Ric Flair was doing that every night, but thankfully we're in a position now where guys don't have to do that every night. So they're not hopefully not going to die at the age of 40 as regular as they used to. Yeah. So I don't care, but that was as good as any Ric Flair hour-long match I've seen. And as you probably gather by me waxing lyrical over his positive parts, he's the GOAT. So if the two of them have managed to achieve that already, and at the age of the two of them, it's just fucking madness.
2 points I just want to make dead quick before we move on, just to bring back to things that got brought up in that conversation. One, Dan, talking about MJF wearing the Spain shirt. Yeah, he's going to come out in a Spain shirt, and certain wrestlers' fans are going to bitch and moan saying he's copying that certain wrestler. CM Punk.
Yeah, probably.
And second, just to what you said, Andy, about it's testament to how good MJF is. He did the 10 in the night. I'd also like to point out it's a testament to how over Daniel Garcia is. Because if he tried that with
Mike.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah. Because if he'd done that with anyone else, I don't think it works. You've got to be very careful if he does it too for it to work. And it's a testament to how over Daniel Garcia is. Despite, again, the opinions of certain people in the internet wrestling community, he is over. he's very much over as a babyface. I love Daniel Garcia. I think he's great, and he was a major part of that working for me.
Well, I think, as we said, Mike, the internet, we know what the C stands for in the IWC, and it's not community, so we can disregard most of that shit, even if they are the people listening to this.
We'll see how over Garcia, that pop he gets when he comes back is going to be massive.
Yeah.
When he comes back and gets his revenge.
I'll be doing the dance at Wembley just like all of you, bro. Don't worry.
I don't think he's going to be doing the dance anymore, man. I think the dance is done. I think he's going to be more serious.
Nah, we need that. We need that a little bit more. Mom, I told you guys, my mom is coming with me to All In. She's gonna be looking at me like doing that dance, like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'll just say, bro, if your mum is part of the internet wrestling community, I wasn't referring to her when I did say that before.
Oh no, trust me, she has no idea what 99% is going on in wrestling in general. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Before we crack on, sorry to jump in again, but when Daniel Garcia comes back, it means we get to see more of Daddy Magic, which give me that every week.
Yeah,
Daddy Magic's promos are genuinely top 10 in the company for me. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for our last segment of this episode, to honour the 250th episode of Dynamite, and remember, Nitro, the record's coming soon. We're going to go through our best and worst moments in the 250 episodes. And as is tradition here at the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast, I'm going to go first with my best moment. And that is the announcement of Kota Ibushi in Blood and Guts last year.
Very good.
Thought it was handled perfectly. I watched it back recently because it's just over a year since it happened. I thought, I'm a big Ibushi guy. Massive Ibushi fan. So to have him in AEW for me was amazing. I thought the debut was done perfectly. I thought everything about it was spot on.
Very good choice. Very underrated choice, actually. I don't think a lot of people would get that one.
Very fitting with the great timing considering next week's Dynamite.
Very on.
So for mine, I think there's been many. I haven't watched every episode of Dynamite, obviously. At least and certainly a handful of moments stick out. But the slightly out there one, but I think, to be honest, because I'm enjoying his work so much nowadays and have done since he turned, was on that Dynamite when Christian Cage said Jungle Boy's dad for the first time. To me, is probably my favorite because I've rewatched that promo so many times and I still just get goosebumps because Christian is. I don't care what anybody says. I think I'm a Christian guy. I was an Edge guy, but I think I've always preferred Christian just to a slightly more extent. And that to me was the start of probably the best run that guy has ever had in any wrestling company that he's ever been in. Because he is untouchable right now. And when he retires, I'm going to be sobbing like an unconsolable little baby. So that to me is probably my favourite Dynamite moment.
That's a great one. To be honest, that didn't. When I was thinking of mine, that didn't cross my mind, and it's just a testament as to how many great moments we've had in such a short space of time.
It just solidifies Christian and just started what has been just a legendary run, and that has really just turned people's heads because I remember when he signed and people were a bit about it because it seemed a bit underwhelming. But then, after his stint with Jurassic Express, and he did that promo after his turn, it was the start of something special, and we're really seeing something special with Christian right now. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
If you remember when he signed, though, like everyone had all these bizarre, unrealistic expectations. People were thinking it was going to be John Cena and Brock Lesnar and people like that. You're like, what the fuck,
I take Christian over either of them any day.
so would I. Well, especially fucking Brock Lesnar at the moment. Fucking hell. Mine is I was going to go for one that someone else would probably pick, so I changed it. And I suppose we'll know at the end. But I've gone for the Halloween episode that was part of Hangman's resurgence and his eventual title run when he was in the Marshmallow Man costume.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
It was so good. You had the Bucks and Kenny in the Ghostbusters gear, and that Brandon Cutler was supposed to be wearing the Marshmallow Man outfit, and obviously we found out later that the Dark Order had taken out Brandon, and Hangman had been wearing that outfit all along. And in that moment at the end, when they're all they're in the ring and the Marshmallow Man stood behind, and he takes the mask off. It was chilling. It was so good for what was essentially, on the face of it, a jokey episode, to have a real, bit of solid kind of good storyline in there in the background with it that led to better things. It was just incredible. It's just a moment that I think back and it just puts a big grin on my face thinking about it.
I'll go with mine. Mine is Mariah May's heel turn. It might be a bit of recency bias or Mariah bias, either. But we all knew it was going to happen. Like, anyone could see what was going to happen eventually. But I didn't expect it to be like that. You've never seen anything like that from women wrestling in general. Not in this, not really ever. No, it was just sick. I loved it.
I'm with you there. I think we all knew it was going to happen, but we didn't. I don't think anyone knew it was going to happen then, or even had an idea it was going to happen then. The way they played it with the skipping up the ramp.
I thought it was going to happen at all in after the match, but yeah.
A quick sidebar. Like, I think this. I want to hear what everyone thinks real quick. The Tony Storm Mariah May storyline, is this the greatest storyline in women's wrestling history?
Yes.
Yeah, for me,
I would agree. I
And
was hesitant to it at first, but it's really grown on me.
It is, but we also have, like, how long has women's wrestling actually had, storylines that are decent? I mean, don't forget for up until, kind of probably 4 or 5 years ago, whatever, women's wrestling was still bra and panties matches and shit like that, wasn't it? So, whereas this is the first one I can remember where they've had a story that's had me actually interested and gripped, and I really cannot wait to fucking see how it turns out.
Sorry, disclaimer before the Josie nerds come for us. We mean in mainstream Western wrestling.
Oh,
not
sorry,
all time.
Before
the Josie nerds come for us.
No, Mike's right. That's exactly what
I don't really keep up with Joshi wrestling, so like.
I think on that turn, I was saying to Mike a few weeks back, I thought it was going to be like, and I referenced Triple H and Flair, the Evolution thing when Flair got a title shot against Triple H, and Triple H was kind of like, it'd be good. Yeah, we'll have a good match, just a little play around, and see how it goes. And as it got closer, it changed from Flair just being, we'll just go in there and just play around to actually, I can fucking win this. And I thought that's the way it was going to go, with Mariah being like, do you know what, I can actually win this. I didn't see that coming, that it was all a ruse all along, and that the way that ended, it was a very good choice there, Dav, for best moments. It was one that had me kind of jaw wide open.
It does. It also helps. Like, it's showing how much AEW's women's division's grown this year, I'd say, and how good it is now compared to, say, 12 months ago. Like, and you've got Mercedes coming in as well. Like, it's just the division's cooking, man.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We're spoiled for choice because we're all waiting for Jamie Hayter to make a return, and you're looking at it thinking she has to go straight into the title shot because, like, I personally think she's the best women's wrestler around. But where do you fit her in? You can't just slot her straight into that story. You can't slot her straight into Mercedes stuff that's going on. So what happens? I don't know which one of you guys had the idea or said that you'd read the idea somewhere that we have a casino gauntlet match. And Jamie Hayter
I've been banging that drum for about a month now. I keep putting on Twitter hoping TK sees it and does it all in.
That's the perfect solution. That would be amazing.
That shows beginning of the year we were all saying we want Jamie Hayter back. We need her back for this division, and now
exactly. Yeah, we were like, what are we going to do at Wembley if there's no Jamie Hayter? And now it's like, oh fuck, if Jamie Hayter's back, where the fuck are we going to fit it in?
Ooh, that pop if they do that casino gauntlet match and when her music hits in Wembley. Ooh, amazing.
The one that it struck me as potentially, however, the Brit Mercedes match goes at Wembley, and after the match, that's when Jamie returns.
I think Camille debuts then, and then Jamie Hayter returns. That's my prediction for it.
I mean, when they first signed Mercedes, the dream match for me was the Hayter Mercedes match. I've said that
100%.
a long time. That is the match.
That should, when that happens, if it's for the TBS or if it's for the world title, ideally the world, but either way, that should headline a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% headline.
I reckon we'll have women headlining pay-per-views by the end of this year, I think. I don't know which one, but I reckon they'll headline one before the end of the year.
It's a shame because I think Mariah Tony should headline it, but selfishly, I do want to just hear the final countdown at the end of the show and just be immersed in the crowd, just singing along.
If Daniel Bryan's winning the title, that's the biggest moment in AEW history. If Daniel Bryan wins the title in front of 50-ish thousand fans at Wembley, that is 100% the biggest moment in company history. That's how we go. We're going home having seen Daniel Bryan win the world title. I'm 100% of that.
All right. My best Dynamite moment, obvious one. Danielson and Omega at the first Grand Slam, September 2021. I was there live with a couple of my friends, and I could tell you when the bell rang, like for 2-3 minutes, it was euphoric. I mean, it was WrestleMania type feel. Like, remember when it was like freaking? I don't care. You can say exaggeration, whatever. Like when Hogan and Rock were like staring at each other in the ring at WrestleMania 18. Like it felt like that before they even locked up, before a punch, a kick, a hold, or anything. Just the slow walk to the middle of the ring, just the small little chirping that they were doing. Then they backed away, and the match was perfect. There's no negative thing they could say about the match. Like I'll admit, at first, like a lot of us there, like we were a little upset it was a draw, but looking back at it now, like I wouldn't change anything about the match. Like it was amazing. Like easily the best Dynamite moment for me.
On that, for the second week in a row, I fucking hate you.
Same. I think we should put a little counter every time Brett mentions he was there for that match. I reckon it's going to be at least twice a week or something.
If we were on camera, I'd be green. I'd be like the fucking Hulk, and I would just sat in my chair, fucking pissed off. On that moment, Brett, that was mine, and I changed it because I had a feeling you were going to use that one.
Definitely was.
Yeah, so that's why I went for the one which just slightly under that moment, but my other one, which was Hangman in the Marshmallow Man costume.
Right, last and so when we decided we were going to do this, I'd gone with Eddie Kingston and CM Punk's promo, and I was looking forward to that. And then just when I was reading through it about 15 minutes ago, I realised that was on Rampage. So I had a quick shift to the first ever interaction between MJF and Punk, which was autumn 2021. I just thought it was amazing. It was when every single week it did, like, again, the cliched feeling that everyone banged on about back then, but you did have it. You had such high expectations. You were going to get something so larger than life each week. Punk was on great form still. Bryan was there. Omega was healthy. Hangman was just, everything just felt great at that point, especially in the men's division. But that promo MJF, in the first one they had, MJF killed him. I mean, I'm sure that was the point anyway, but there was just so much in there that I loved. You've gone soft, man. Your hair's gone grey and based in your eyes. If anyone has to go to sleep, it's you. This isn't CM Punk, it's PG Punk. What happened to the guy I grew up on? You might as well come out here preaching hustle, loyalty, and respect. He said, here's a problem. I can see you. I can see through you. You claimed you only came back for the younger talent, and you've claimed you'd only come back for a boatload of money. It was kind of like he was kind of foreseeing the future as well. So everything about it, I just loved it. Like it's like Eddie Kingston did on Rampage, aged perfectly. I'm sure that there was a lot of truth in it, and it may have just been with Punk that maybe the Hangman Page bit was the final straw of people calling him out live on TV, and that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, maybe, because it felt that Eddie Kingston and MJF had very much done so beforehand. I just thought it was great TV. I was like living every minute of it. Like that feud did a great job of making MJF feel like a main eventer, and it was just peak AEW.
A great one.
I can't disagree with that at all, mate. Smashed it.
No, fantastic.
I think it's a testament to how good it's been that like all of our choices I thought were excellent, and they could have easily been my choice.
Yeah, 100%.
And that, like, for the next part of this, I struggle to think of really bad. Like, I can think of some stuff that's a bit meh, but stuff that's really bad, I struggle. But
Really
like
bad.
I said,
Again,
but like
a
I said,
6 out of 10 episode of Dynamite will get absolutely torn to shreds because it's not set the world. They are held to a different standard to every other company because they are the competition. We can go on and on and on about the reasons why. We know it's true. They are held to a very, very different level to everyone else in terms of perception, and there's no two ways about that. And the stuff with Punk damaged them. But yeah, bad episodes are very few and far between. I think, again, summer 2023, I don't think was a great period for them. But this year's been brilliant. If 2024 had been a continuation of 2021 and we hadn't had the bits in between and all the negativity, people would be speaking about it on the same level as they did back then, I think.
100%. As I said to you guys, I didn't watch wrestling from probably 2007, so I missed a lot of the Punk stuff. So he didn't really have any emotional attachment to me when it all kicked off. And the only thing that brought me back was I caught the little bit of the bubbly promo. I was like, oh, well, what's this all about? You know, watched the promo of the first title win and him kind of, basically throwing slurs at everybody as he's walking down the backstage to the point where he starts kicking off about the state of the olives and the salami. And I was like, I need to check this out, check the show out, and I was hooked. And every week since then, Wednesday's been my favorite day of the week.
Yeah, just to wrap up this episode, we're going to go through our worst moments, and contrary to the best moments, I actually think I've got the winner for the worst moments in Dynamite history. I don't think anyone will contest this, and that is the Brandy Rhodes versus Dan Lambert promo.
You took the words right out.
You're a black belt. Well, I'm not going to finish the line, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it speaks for itself. It was truly terrible. Shouldn't have happened. It was disgusting.
You can just put anything with Brandy Rhodes in it, and it'll be the worst moment in Dynamite history. To be honest with you,
it was going to be mine, so I'm going to change mine on the fly.
Not that one, but it was just the start of the nightmare.
Brandy's whole AEW career, to be fair. Like,
to be fair, it was the. When Mike tried to do that last week, we called him out, but I would let you have that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're all equally as shite.
Well, literally, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do Brandy's whole AEW run. But I thought, you called me out last week. I can't do it 2 weeks in a row. But I don't even have to add anything. Like, just watch the promo. Like, fuck, don't even, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't even, like, put yourself through that. Just, let's all collectively agree that it didn't fucking happen.
Well,
mine was similar. It was the start of the whole Nightmare Collective thing, which never led anywhere. Although the shining light, we did the Blue, who ended up becoming a really vital part of the Tony Storm, getting over as the timeless gimmick. But when he first started, you look at what he looked like with that kind of group of kind of like oddball circus freaks, was. What's going on here? Who was smoking when they pitched that? And how did they get Tony Khan to agree to that? I'll never know. But that was probably my worst moment because that just was just awful.
I'm gonna throw a rogue one. So Jericho versus Adam Cole at Double or Nothing, the unsanctioned match, but it ended with referee stoppage. Just made no fucking sense.
Yeah.
It was shocking, man.
When Sabu turned up, took a table bumper, then left, and no one ever saw him again.
Oh man, it was terrible. As soon as you said Jericho was about to jump into to his defense there, and then I listened to the rest of it, and I'm like, no, fuck that, I can't. Like, you guys have stolen most of mine, but I do have another one, and this will probably balance out a lot of other things that I've said. But it's when Ric Flair turned up. It was so fucking bad. It was like nobody wanted to see him. It was just like. And you could see he was desperate to take the spotlight. It's like, no, please, I don't want to see this, man. Go away. So yeah, that's mine. It was just, no.
Yeah, it was truly woeful, and it was the worst decision probably TK's made.
And I also, Mike, if I can just do what we said you couldn't do, but we let Dav in terms of using a bunch of moments. It would be every time he's appeared on TV since, because it's just been fucking atrocious, man. Oh.
Yeah, we'll let you off that one, Andy. Fucking hell, no, it's been truly bad. And if it's true that the deal is over and we're not going to see Woo, that mushroom fucking shite on TV anymore, I'm fucking more than happy.
Well, it's the fact that, like, is Woo a real drink? Because I'm convinced it's some kind of money laundering scheme. I've never seen it. I don't know anyone's ever had it. I've never seen anyone on the internet have it.
I've never seen it. All the times I've been in like 7-Eleven, any supermarkets, I've never seen it in person.
Does it even exist? And it's that, and it's the fact that he turns up in these grotesque fucking suits, like a frail old man who thinks that he's still fucking 20, and it's just like, please, just get out of me fucking way, man.
My worst Dynamite moment involves Cody Rhodes, the weigh-in for his match with Anthony Ogogo at Double or Nothing 2021. That was utter dog shit. First off, weigh-ins in general in wrestling matches are fucking stupid. Makes absolutely no sense, and you could tell that whole thing was a Cody Rhodes production right there. Like, it was stupid. It was horrible. Yeah. That to me. Well, I was gonna say like anything Brandy Rhodes related, but a couple of you guys already beat me to the punch. Like, but yeah. I'll add her husband Cody to that list.
Yeah, no, it was truly awful. The whole "I Stop Racism" promo, everything about it was
God, fucking hell, man.
Own death.
Every time you say this, you remind me of how bad it was.
And I will wrap us up with it was a combination of things from an episode from August 2023, just before All In last year, when I didn't think AEW was in a very good position. I was very much thinking after All In, I would considering, should I just drop out of watching wrestling because I'm not enjoying it that much. And then an episode of Dynamite happened, Fight for the Fallen, and it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match between Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. That really got to me, because I sat there and thought, this is Vince McMahon 2019 bullshit. Like, I know there's money at stake and whatnot, but that doesn't bother. I will reiterate, I do not give a fuck about a wrestling company's finances. I care about what I'm watching on my screen. And I found it so bad, so offensively bad. And I thought, okay, right, it's a one-off, we move on. Then the next match was Britt Baker against the Bunny, and it was so bad. It was just a really, really bad match. And I just thought at that point, this is not the same. And I did feel that this is not the same company that, like, from 2021, 22, or even at the start of 2023, that I thought was just the best wrestling television I've ever seen. And I thought, this is pretty dark. This is a bad period. And then All In happened, and then again, straight after that, it felt like it gradually, pretty promptly picked up and became a bit of an 8 out of 10 show again. And it's gradually just been an upward trajectory since. But yeah, that episode of Dynamite I thought was a particularly dark time for the company, because again, the build to All In last year was not good. I was worried a week or so before I was going to a glorified house show, and this kind of typified it. It was just, again, I look at this card and think, this was 2 weeks before All In, and there was no story for All In on this entire card.
Yeah.
Like Orange Cassidy v. Yuta, Darby and Nick Wayne beat the Gates of Agony, the two matches I mentioned, and then the main event was the Bucks v. the Guns in just a normal tag match. It was bad.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
You guys have taken all the other choices that I would have had. So apart from the Jericho one, but in hindsight, that was really bad. So I would have probably agreed.
Yeah, I think
we can attribute that bad period though to certain individual who had caused a lot of tension within the company. Really, that's really what it all boils down to. Is that it all really started getting bad is because that certain individual was around, and then he wasn't anymore.
And also the Texas Chainsaw thing. Like I remember all of the furor at the time, but like I think that's a victim of Tony or somebody being too nice, and because it was charity, wasn't it? The money they got from that they gave to charity, and it like that's brilliant, but it was still shit.
Yeah,
and Fucking
That's it, we can
Leatherface running
acknowledge
around.
that
What the fuck?
it was very WCW at its worst. And we can acknowledge the nice that it did, that it was for charity, but it was fucking awful television.
Oh, it was. It was so bad.
Like next time he could just cut the check, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why? He should have just done that. He's giving money away for fucking less than that, you know. But before we move on, well, while we're talking about bad things as well, I feel we should actually address something that you know, based on the first podcast, Finn is actually not around anymore. And if you did listen to that, we did threaten with booting him off the podcast because he did say that the Mania main event was one of the best matches of all time, and so we did, and that's why
we are men of our words.
Yeah, we are men of our words. He got booted.
He got replaced.
Can't tolerate those shenanigans on a serious podcast like this.
Before we finish as well, I just have like a something I feel might help people in general, like because you know we talk a lot about things and people get really wound up and the mental health might suffer. So I just wanted to say that, like, if anyone's out there and they're struggling with, you know, a lot of these kind of long matches and they're going crazy, there is other things they can watch, like EastEnders, which is basically Raw without matches. You don't have to watch wrestling matches if you don't like them. You know?
It's fine, yeah. There's other forms of entertainment out there, and don't forget, boys, it's just wrestling. It's not that serious. Well, thank you for doing
still real to me, damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Right. Well, in that case, I'm off to write an essay on why Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't sell very well. And
yeah, didn't help yourself.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining us for our second episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and let us know on Twitter.